Steelers Nation, welcome back. As always, our team is working hard to improve, to fine-tune every position group, and to make sure we're putting the best product on the field in 2025. We all know Pittsburgh is chasing greatness this season, and that means General Manager Omar Khan is leaving no stone unturned. Before we dive into today's big news about the Steelers adding a brand new name to their wide receiver search, make sure you smash that like button so more members of Steelers Nation can join this conversation. And of course, if you love exclusive inside news on your team, don't forget to subscribe. Now, let's get into it. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been searching for wide receiver help all off-season long. We've seen names like Gabe Davis, Terry McLaurin, and even some practice squad shuffling, but nothing has stuck, at least not yet. And now, as the 2025 season opener against the New York Jets approaches, the Steelers have brought in yet another name, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers wideout Raheem Jarrett. According to the NFL Transaction Wire, Jarrett worked out for Pittsburgh just days before the first game of the season. At only 24 years old, the Maryland product brings youth, speed, and a little versatility to the table. He stands 6 feet tall, weighs 192 pounds, and has some experience both as a slot receiver and as a kick returner. Jarrett's NFL resume isn't flashy. 10 games played, 2 starts, and 13 catches for 184 yards over 2 years with the Bucs. But the Steelers clearly believe there might be untapped potential. Bringing him in for a workout suggests they're looking for depth, possibly even a practice squad addition, someone who could develop and grow within this system. So, what makes Raheem Jarrett interesting? Well, first off, he fits a mold the Steelers have been obsessed with this offseason, the slot receiver. Pittsburgh already has Calvin Austin III and rookie Roman Wilson, both of whom are slot weapons, yet Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin continue to explore more players who fit that style. This tells us something important. Arthur Smith's offense is slot-heavy by design. He wants quick separation guys who can run short and intermediate routes, complementing Aaron Rodgers' ability to read defenses and get the ball out fast. Jarrett fits right into that category. Also, don't underestimate the special teams angle. The Steelers have been rotating through returners, and Jarrett's experience there could give him a pathway to stick around. At the very least, he could bring fresh competition to the roster. Of course, Jarrett isn't the only name in this story. We have to zoom out. All off-season long, Steelers fans have been clamoring for a big move at wide receiver after George Pickens was traded and Deontay Johnson left last year. Omar Khan has explored several options. Gabe Davis, brought in twice but ultimately re-signed with the Bills. Terry McLaurin, Pittsburgh called but Washington's asking price was sky high. Robert Woods, briefly on the practice squad before being released. Lance McCutcheon, signed to the 16-man scout team. And now, Raheem Jarrett enters the mix. So while fans might be frustrated that a true WR1 hasn't been added, the Steelers are playing the long game. They're not desperate. They're testing, evaluating, and waiting for the right fit at the right price. Now let's talk about Arthur Smith, because he's a massive piece of this puzzle. As offensive coordinator, his system is shaping the way Pittsburgh approaches roster construction. And according to a recent report from The Athletic's Ted Nguyen, opposing coaches around the NFL see a major flaw in Smith's scheme. Here's the quote: "Coaches love the design of his run game and play-action concepts, but his drop-back package leaves a lot to be desired." That's huge. Translation: Smith is excellent when building his offense around the run and play action, but when it comes to traditional drop-back passing, his playbook looks thin. This matters because it explains why Pittsburgh keeps looking at slot receivers instead of the typical big outside WR1 that many fans expect. Smith wants a system where Aaron Rodgers can execute play action, quick throws, and timing routes. He's not chasing the same offensive blueprint that other teams are. This brings us to the most important question. Can Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers coexist successfully? We all remember last season when Smith clashed with Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. Reports said Smith hated when Wilson changed plays at the line of scrimmage. That can't happen with Rodgers. Rodgers has built his entire Hall of Fame career on reading defenses, audibling at the line, and controlling the flow of the offense. So far, it looks like the two are on the same page. Rodgers has praised the work they've put in together during the offseason. Smith, for his part, seems to understand he has to adjust for Rodgers' style, but the tension could always resurface if things start slow. This makes the wide receiver hunt even more fascinating. If Smith continues to emphasize slot receivers, will Rodgers push back and demand a true outside threat? Or will he adapt, trusting Smith's run-heavy, play-action system to get results? Now, I know a lot of you in Steelers Nation are frustrated. You see Jarrett's name and think, this guy isn't going to move the needle, and I get it. But here's the thing. Pittsburgh isn't in panic mode. They're not throwing draft picks away for desperation trades. They're building a team they believe can grow stronger as the season progresses. Remember, Rodgers doesn't need an all-pro cast of receivers to succeed. He needs timing, chemistry, and a system that plays to his strengths. If Jarrett, or anyone else they bring in, can earn Rodgers' trust, then they'll have a role. And don't forget, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren are set to be heavily featured in the run game. If Arthur Smith can finally translate his run game genius from Tennessee to Pittsburgh, the wide receiver position may not need a superstar. Instead, it will need versatility, toughness, and depth. The Pittsburgh Steelers are set to begin their 2025 NFL season on the road against the New York Jets, and for once, the team is heading into Week 1 with relatively good health. Sure, there are a couple of injuries to note. First-round defensive tackle Derek Harmon won't be available, but overall, the team looks strong. The big question hanging over the defense, though, was the status of outside linebacker Nick Herbig. Ever since he tweaked his hamstring in the second preseason game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, fans have been wondering whether he'd be ready for Week 1. He's been practicing in a limited capacity, but no one knew for sure. Well, Steelers Nation, the latest roster moves tell us everything we need to know. On Saturday, Pittsburgh announced their game day elevations from the practice squad. Only one player was promoted. Noticeably, no outside linebackers were elevated. That's a clear sign that the coaching staff believes Nick Herbig is good to go.
You might be asking, why does James Pierre's promotion matter for Herbig? The answer is simple. If the Steelers thought Herbig wasn't ready, they would have had no choice but to promote another edge rusher, maybe someone like DeMarvin Leal, to fill the void. The fact that they didn't tells us they fully expect Herbig to suit up and contribute against the Jets. And make no mistake, Herbig may not be a starter, but his impact is massive. In 2024, Herbig emerged as one of the NFL's most efficient pass rushers. Even though he was only the third outside linebacker behind T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, Pro Football Focus graded him as the third best edge rusher in the league. That's insane for a rotational guy. He finished the year with 7 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, tied for the second most in the NFL, and a ridiculous 91.8 pass rush grade. Every time he stepped on the field, he made something happen. He brought energy, explosiveness, and a knack for knocking the ball loose at crucial moments. Steelers fans fell in love with his hustle, and coaches loved the fact that offenses couldn't breathe even when Watt or Highsmith came off the field. Looking ahead, Herbig is even more important this season. Watt, now 30 years old and fresh off a record-breaking contract extension, needs to have his reps managed carefully. Highsmith is still a force, but his contract is set to expire in 2027, and the Steelers are already thinking about the long-term future at the position. That's where Herbig comes in. Not only is he a critical piece for 2025, but he may also be the heir apparent as the next great Steelers pass rusher. And with Pittsburgh experimenting with defensive looks that put 3 outside linebackers on the field at once, Herbig's snap count is only going to climb. He's not just a third rusher, he's a weapon, and one that the Steelers cannot afford to lose. Just to give you some perspective, let's talk about what it would have looked like if Herbig couldn't go against the Jets. Behind Watt and Highsmith, the only true backup on the active roster is rookie Jack Sawyer, who is yet to play an NFL snap. The emergency option would have been elevating DeMarvin Leal from the practice squad, but let's be honest, Leal isn't a natural fit as a true edge rusher. That lack of depth would have been dangerous, especially going up against a quarterback like Justin Fields, who thrives on extending plays with his legs. Without Herbig, Pittsburgh's ability to rotate fresh pass rushers and keep constant pressure would have been compromised. So yes, this update is more than just good. It's critical. Let's shift focus to Week 1, because this is where Herbig's presence could be felt immediately. Justin Fields is the ultimate wild card. He can frustrate defenses with his ability to scramble and turn broken plays into highlight runs. Herbig's athleticism makes him one of the few defenders on the roster who can actually mirror Fields' mobility. He's quick, explosive, and disciplined enough to keep the edge contained. While Watt and Highsmith are going to dominate with power and technique, Herbig's speed rush and bend around the corner could be exactly what Pittsburgh needs to collapse the pocket and keep Fields uncomfortable. If the Steelers want to start the season 1-0, keeping Fields under control will be priority number 1, and Nick Herbig is a big part of that plan. Let's not forget, the Steelers are once again rostering the highest-paid defense in the NFL. Fans and analysts alike expect this unit to be the driving force of the team, especially as the offense adjusts to Arthur Smith's scheme with Aaron Rodgers under center. For the defense to live up to that billing, every piece matters. Watt will always be the headliner, Highsmith the perfect complement, but Herbig is the kind of hidden gem that takes a defense from really good to truly elite. His role may not get the national headlines, but inside Pittsburgh, we know how important he is. So what's next for the Steelers' wide receiver room? Here's what I think. Number 1, Jared could land on the practice squad. That gives Pittsburgh a no-risk look at him. Number 2, Omar Khan will keep calling around. Don't be surprised if another veteran name surfaces after week 1 when contracts become less guaranteed. Number 3, Arthur Smith's offense will tell us everything. If the unit looks sharp against the Jets, the urgency to add a star wideout drops high. If it struggles, the pressure ramps up immediately. This story is far from over. The search continues, and Omar Khan's patience might just pay off. Steelers Nation, here's where I leave it to you. Raheem Jarrett isn't a blockbuster signing, but he's another piece in a puzzle that Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin are carefully assembling. Do you like the strategy of adding low-risk players and waiting for the right trade? Or do you think the Steelers are wasting time and should go all in on the big name now? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is just getting started. And once again, if you enjoyed this exclusive update, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the latest Steelers news. The season opener is almost here. Rodgers is ready to roll, and the wide receiver room is still a work in progress. Buckle up, because this ride is going to be wild. Here we go, Steelers Nation.